And we are live. Black of British, Martin speaking. Welcome, people. Welcome. Happy holidays to all. Let me just check my comms are in order. Absolutely superb. Welcome, people. It is the 27th of the 12th, 2018 or so, they say. And today we are honored. We are honored to have the presence of Phillip Druzhinin live from Moscow in Russia. I'm very impressed by that bit, by the way.
Yes, internet is a great thing. We can connect Moscow, London, New York, Canberra, I don't know.
When I was young, these were cities I would just fantasize about, was BVP cities like Moscow. You know, when you dream of Moscow. Now I'm talking to it live. Absolutely brilliant. So, Philip, busy times, yes?
Yeah, we have a whole bunch of new information. You know, people, it's a whole bunch of hype going on right now, and people are trying to debunk the mud flood. People are trying to address the strikes to the channels that are talking about mud flood. So
Yeah.
all the mud flooders, all these guys who are engaged, they are already concerned as a cooperational, conspiracy group, which is
Not a
attacking.
conspiracy, though. It's not a conspiracy. I don't believe it is.
Which is attacking the Western civilization history. This is how it sounds exactly. And videos getting blocked and getting marked as inappropriate content. So some great videos that came up lately, and
Max Egan's great video.
in fact. So
Yeah, all them views and just gone like that. It's just
So I thought we should, have a chat with Martin to, exchange the opinions on what is really the mud flood, what is going on right now, why is this topic start to hype, and what we have to wait in the next year, what is the direction of the research right now.
perfectly put. Exactly that. Exactly that. Yeah, it is going to attack, but I see this as more of an investigation. We have mountains of circumstantial evidence, not too much direct, but mountains of circumstantial evidence is by far enough for any good case, and it is everywhere to be seen. And there, something definitely has happened because your primeval knowledge knows something has happened. So yeah, next year this is going to be a big topic. It already is. It's getting confused along the way by different ideals. So maybe you could just give us a rundown on exactly what mud flood is. You're the man who knows more than anybody, I would say.
Well, recently I found out that one Russian guy already been talking about the mudslide before me, and I have.
Yeah, I know, I've seen it, but he wasn't a flat earther, so you were the first flat earther.
Oh, well, okay.
So that's why I didn't like when I seen it. I was like, yeah, but I was translating, and he was thinking from globe perspective. So it was like, as soon as Philip come along, I was like, flat earther.
Well, we may not agree with him totally, but in fact, we have to give a guy credit because
Definitely.
he was talking about the buried cities, and he was like making 6-hour videos. I think a couple of them. So a bunch of people started to watch them at least, and we were warmed to the topic at the time that we started to influence really the topic, because it was like just in a year or so. So it's like I started August 2016, so it's like half of year I just was pushing, no feedback, no. So some people got interested because I think the problem is with me and the guy before that, we had just Russian accent. I think that's it, because people just don't comprehend, and sometimes we cannot explain what we really mean. I think that's a problem. And also
Really?
long videos, nobody likes the long videos, and showing the pictures, and they're like set and born, but if you start to as more people get engaged, more interest comes, and more fans that starting to look around, at least where they live, and see that it's obviously more evident than even the flat Earth, because you have to,
Exactly.
something to prove the flat
It's more
Earth.
tangible. It's easier to prove as well. It's there. Flat Earth is everything is out there and untouchable and provable. But that is there. In every single city. So every town.
Yeah. It's a big budget project to prove something in flat Earth stuff, right? So,
right.
But you can walk around and you can actually watch the evidence and the picture, some footage, and post a picture, post in Facebook or whatever, on Instagram, whatever you want. So it's like not a big deal to maybe visit some cafes in the basement floor, so-called basement floor, and picture some bricked up doors and windows, right, that are in the ground right now. So it's like that evidence that is not kind of direct, but we don't have witnesses from that era, right?
I have seen direct evidence, though. That's what got me so obsessed with this subject, was when I was working on in my city, and I was literally in a street, an arcade, with the window still there, Philip. Right? No stock or anything, but it was a Victorian street, and it was below a department store in my city. I was like, I can't believe this is here. Below, everything was below. So I thought that it was just through time, everything we built on top of the cities built on top. Never conceived the extra earth may have come in later. But it would seem that was the case over and over again. It would seem.
No, a bunch of people have seen those windows and doors during their works, and I've met a bunch of professionals, but this is still not direct, as according to the video that Mudflood channel released like yesterday.
Excellent.
It's like a definition of your American definition or English law definition of evidence. In Russia, we have pretty much the same, so I didn't have just enough words to describe what it is, but it's pretty much the same. So this coincidental evidence is not supposed to be proven totally, right? But it is what we observe, right? But if we want to have direct evidence, we have to have witnesses. But no witnesses are still living, right? We don't find any people from that era. So they were erased step by step in each and every of those wars, like First World War, Second World War, and that's it. And those people were erased. So nobody could have, leave us any documental evidence or diary.
Censuses getting burnt out. There was the 2 Boer Wars before 1900s. 22,000 people died in the Boer War in concentration camps, British ones.
Of course.
First to invent them, apparently, this time around. It's all in Wikipedia.
A bunch of those strange wars in 19th century, which could be also some,
Franco War, as well.
Also in South Africa. The war in South Africa, which was supposed to be first that created the concentration camps. And white British people were fighting so-called Dutch.
You couldn't say the Transvaal. The political ideal was rubbish. The real reason, couldn't really say, Philip. Is it to do with antiquity? Because there's a lot of it in South, Pretoria, Johannesburg. These cities have got all the same architecture that we see, these big, and Cape Town as well, another, Durban, all these big cities in South Africa. So I feel there's something more going on there, definitely.
Yes, of course. So I feel like the mud flood is also a great topic to mention. I didn't want to talk only about it.
No, me.
But
it's a wide subject, though. Look at the aspects.
It's all connected to the 19th century, and if we start talking about 19th century, we eventually come to the topic when this mud appears from nowhere, and we don't know what is happening. As you've been studying before we started this live show today, you were mentioning the position about. You might as well just repeat what you said about electromagnetic, all this stuff, and appearance of the mud.
Yeah, well, I got past one of these other CIA declassified documents. They're all got released about 2 years ago. I remember when they arrived. I've not seen many of them, but in the last few weeks, a few have turned up. One was published on another channel a few weeks back. I've talked about one myself, but the one that come today is basically, when you read it, it's a mud flood manual. It's called the story of Adam and Eve. And it's the first chapter is called The Coming Cataclysm, or the next, excuse me, cataclysm. And it goes into details which sort of surmise the way they explain it. There might be some, outside, help with this event, as in not divine. Take giant tsunamis, giant mud flows, all talked about in it, an instant freezing of the entire plane, and it states in there, even though they're talking from heliocentric standpoint, they still state in this document that all the planes froze, and then they talk about them mammoths with that vegetation still in their mouth, yet they're in the tundra where there's hardly any of this vegetation, and should have been a warmer climate. So it would appear that there was an instant freezing as well. But they paint in because they talk about it being electromagnetic as well, but they're talking about geos. Okay, so I'm not going on that. They talk. If you read between the lines in this document, they talk about, the magnetics of this place we live are exactly the same as the atom. But they talk about the electrons being like a solar system. They don't talk about the double torus dielectric inertia plane version of the atom, which it actually is. Okay, but they talk about this place being electromagnetic and being a carbon copy of an atom, and they are saying basically that they know how the place works. And what the weird thing about this document is to get to the end, and it says, and these cycles are repeated over and over again. So they're basically telling you that it's a reset system. In this CIA manual, I don't know whether to publish it, talk about it, or what. It's mind-blowing. When I read it, I was getting like skin crawling, because the details they go into, mass animal die-offs and trees as well. And I'm looking today just through images to put onto a post, just randomly, right, Philip? And I find this photograph of a huge mountain of bison bones in America. Well, you know the narrative, don't you? They killed them to cut the food stocks down for the Native Americans. But what if it wasn't? What if that was then collecting that amount of dead animals, from maybe gaseous, from volcanoes, who knows? But turbulent times in the past, it's been quiet for a while. Who knows?
Yeah. Very interesting information, needs to be checked, of course. But
I have checked, and I got in contact with the lady who sent it to me. And first thing I said, well, first, where'd you get it? And can I publish it? Because it's what the nature of what it is. She said it is legal to publish a declassified CIA item, and it is from the CIA library. And I got the link, so I got two links. I got the link from the CIA library direct to the source, and the PDF itself for you to read through. So I'm going to go with that, because that's the source as well. So can't really get in trouble. So yeah, I think I'll go with that later. I think I'll publish it later. I've knocked it up. I've made it anyway. Something else I discovered I wanted to ask you. The giants you posted about yesterday. I was in a radio show back about a week or so ago on TFR Friday with my friend Walt, and he said, well, have you ever seen that film when they shrink that guy down, the new one? It's like, oh, yeah, Ant-Man, I've seen, they shrink him right down. So what if we were all shrunk? Right. So I'm researching today, and somebody sends me a link for alchemical sort of creating of these little people called humunci. And they are little people, right? And they have got basically advanced intelligence. Apparently, they ended up more intelligent than the people around them. Homunculi, they're called. And the alchemists used to make them in vials or flasks and create these I don't know if they're artificial life forms, but yeah, a big thing on it. So it was like more than the Philosopher's Stone, more than, you know, eternal life, or more than base metals to gold. This process of homunculi was apparently massive with the alchemists, only in the 1700s. And one document I got, Philip, is as recent as 1801, right? And they're still practicing homunculi, as in reanimation, all the way up to Mary Shelley in 1811, that year, right? 1812, when she writes Frankenstein, apparently. So it's all tied in. It's really, really strange. Not saying that they existed, but what if they did? Weird. Have you seen them at all? Homunculi? Have you heard of them?
About the shortening of guys, there's a movie with Matt Damon where the
I haven't
idea
seen that one yet. I might do though.
where idea about you know, the civilization is getting broke, no resources, so we have to get shorter, and we're gonna have to tax cuts, and we're gonna have like huge amount of money, and we're gonna live in a small community, small place where we're gonna be minimized and stuff like this. So the idea of the film is pretty much the same with what you be correlating. So, and also the topic the mudflood topic, and the CIA thing, right? What I've been also correlating with information that you just said is that the amount of gas inside this, you know, space that we have inside is, you know, is standard. So if it gets less pressure, so it has to have more ice, because it is transferring into ice. So if it loses the pressure, it gets more ice on the sides, on some.
Makes perfect sense.
Yes, and the freezing of the mud could be explained with ice rain, because ice rain is what is the mixing of the water moisture and the vapor from you know, burnt trees and destruction, all this stuff. Volcanic ash also can be you know, mixed with.
Same. They talk about it in the document the same. They talk about ice rain as well. They talk about fire rain. It's just so
literally
much
we were going through this and literally it could be just a carpet bombing, burning of everything, of the infrastructure, mines, forests, and all these cities. Everything's burning, like we saw on, you know, Great Chicago Fire or whatever pictures, right? Everything is devastated, like Dresden in World War II, totally, you know, ruined,
gone.
And we see what all this moisture is coming up with this smoke, and it's mixing with the air. It gets to the freezing temperatures, and it falls down with the ice rains. And those ice rains can be freezing everybody in a couple of minutes. Like even a chewing mammoth could be frozen in a couple of minutes. When it gets to the mud, it stuck in the mud, and ice rain above the mud, and it's totally freezing here.
They talk about the bones. They talk about the bones of all the animals. They specify. This is like, this document is like stated like it's, you know, like if it's in a present time, and they state that they collect so many bones up, and they talk about how they dispose of them too. It's really, really mind-blowing read. Even if it's complete fiction, reading it from what we know and our perspective, it's absolutely mind-blistering. I can't even get over what I'm reading when I'm reading it. It's like, what? You know, cut out the globe bit, and the rest is just like, they admit it's electromagnetic, it's the same model as an atom. Everything that we talk about, they know. It's just insane, this document. It really is. But that one that was shown last week, did you see that evidence of Tartary, or the expulsion of Tartary, even as recent as 1940s?
Like a couple of years ago, I seen this document. So
yeah,
it's not new. Just, you know, it's like a mud flood. Nobody was talking about Tartary for 2 years, maybe.
2 years ago.
Just, you know, maybe New Earth talked a little bit. I was talking, maybe you were talking, maybe somebody else, but not none of those big bloggers were talking about Tartary. And after Max Sigan, it starts and ignites also. And this video gets blocked as inappropriate content. So,
crazy.
they kind of watch what is the engagement rate, what is the reference rate on the video, and they see it breaks all the algorithm, it gets more views in the suggested videos in the browser features of YouTube, and they cannot help, so they have to block it. They block it with this couple of strikes from the users. It's supposed to be positive. So they have a list of positive users that have like big channels and stuff like this. So if that user goes to the channel and selects the video as an appropriate content and presses OK, the YouTube thinks that the appropriate user, which was positive, is alarming it about the inappropriate content. So a couple of hits from those users and the channel is down and the video is down from the suggested videos. So it doesn't get more views, so people don't see it, and it's only on the channel of the author. You can search it through the videos. That's it. So no gain from the views.
Well,
this is the algorithm and it's working. What are they trying to do? They collect in the database of the users, of the potential threat users, and they connect in the reference rate for each and every topic. So if they see the topic is starting to
gain momentum,
starting to hype, they're gonna close it. All those texts will be unreadable for the robots, and they won't be using an algorithm. So the only way we can support those videos is reposting them with the same hashtag on the social media networks, Instagram, Facebook, whatever you use, Reddit, and use Reddit because Reddit has a bunch of instruments to repost the video.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Somebody sent me a video a couple of days ago, said I made this special for you. This is me, the subscriber, saying this is me trying to subscribe, like, or click the bell on your channel. And he shows that he recorded it and sent it to me. He just clicks and nothing happens. He refreshes it and he shows me another channel and he'll do it and he'll take and he'll click the bell and he'll subscribe and he'll take and he'll come back to my channel and he'll like it. It won't even thumb it up, won't do anything. So it's really unusual why, they are definitely, I think that there's still this influx, but I think it would be a lot bigger if they didn't stem the flow. I think we've just, the tsunami of humanity is too much.
Yeah. And talking about the mudflood, the second possible cause that is right now on the list is not this, bombardment or this catastrophic event thing, which is possibly the best that can explain it. But also we have a natural cause, which is called the mud volcanoes. And which can also be the result of previous mining before, but we cannot, prove it with any direct evidence. Well, what we have is a direct evidence of the presence of those mud volcanoes worldwide. And I wanted to show a couple of footage.
Do you ever feel that it could be mishap and some sort of mishap, technology mishap?
Can you see?
Yeah, sure.
So I won't play the video because we will get the block for this, but you can see it. This is the way it's really igniting. It's the largest volcano of mud. So mud volcanoes don't ignite and erupt as the ordinary so-called volcanoes. They look different, but they have the
where's that one, sir?
Yeah, can you see the flows on the side? So these are the flow of actually the mud. And you can see hill is not very high, right? So it's not very elevated from the area. So, but still the flow is pretty much flowing towards all these valleys around.
Yeah.
So if those mud volcanoes could be everywhere, they could explain the, the eruption of maybe worldwide natural eruption, which could be encircled by somebody or ignited by somebody, or maybe it could occasionally exist from time to time. I don't know.
Maybe it's connected with electromagnetics and the way the circulation of the sun and moon move over bodies of land. Maybe something
Yeah,
electromagnetics
yeah,
that they're all off, or maybe it's on cycles like that. Maybe
yeah.
it's completely natural and out of their control. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe the cyclic event, maybe. So, but right now we see more evidence that it's hidden from us. So we more suspecting like the first one, which could be just a reset, manual reset. I don't know how to say that. This is, I think this is Syria, and the guy showing us that the dirt above the clay layer, which is below it, it looks pretty like much like volcanic ash, which got petrified or something like this, or maybe a mud. This is the structure of the layer of the mud, and this is how it looks from the side. As you can see, in fact, Nick Research has also been talking about it in one of his videos when he doesn't want the mud flood to be called the mud flood. He was talking about the clay, which is actually mud flood is consisting of like 90% of the mud flood is the clay. So, and only 10% is the rest, like dirt and all this stuff. So this is how it looks from the side. And look at here. So it's like a tank here, and this is like all this area.
Wow,
is covered with this clay layers and dark layers on above them. So it's like a burned and petrified dirt or ash, I don't know. So also can be a result of the mud volcano, which could be existing nearby, I don't know. So that's what I wanted to show you.
Yeah, I've seen a few of them. I've seen one in Romania as well, large volcanic fields, one in Indonesia as well, just really large areas just inundated with thick mud coming up from underneath. So definitely a scenario, definitely a
Yeah,
scenario.
and I think in the Indonesia they even admitted that it was the possible cause of it was the so-called mining activity or fracking activity by some company nearby, and they even blamed fracking. I think they were fracking there.
Wonder what they're really doing with fracking, because they're not making energy. They don't need it. They have free energy. They do not need to do fracking. They
I
do
think
not
it's
need the
just
gas.
poisoning the ecology in the area, making people more dependent on the somewhere incoming water resources, so they cannot use their own water, so they have to pay for it, and making a deficit of water and all this resource.
Making water rare like they do with the diamonds makes perfect sense.
Who wants those local people to take care of themselves?
Dig their own well.
They want a flow of slaves and buddies. If you know what I mean.
No, man. No, they wouldn't have it one bit. There's local people, to me, they dug a well in their garden. The government come down on them, said, you've got to close that well. They said, it's on our land. They said, yeah, but the water comes off of our mountain.
Yeah, in fact, the question of the waterfalls in some areas where you don't have all those ice and snow is very interesting question, right? Because you have like a rock and some type of stream is coming out of the rock on the top of it, and there is no resource of the water. There's only a pressure that can push the water from some pipeline, maybe an ancient pipeline or natural pipeline, I don't know how to call it. So it's like a really interesting topic, and maybe sometime else we should get back to the geology, because it's closely related to the mud flood, and one of the parts that I'm gonna making in my film is also related to the layers of the mud and the geology, because what I see right now on the maps is totally the picture of the mud flood. I see where it was expanding.
Yeah.
I see it with the soil map, so-called soil map. You can also download it in whatever area you want to download it. You can see the soil map and what is this consisting of, and you can see the flow where what could possibly start in some areas. So And we had that video that was made by Conspiracy R Us about some hill area that was possibly liquefied by resonance weapon, and all those hill mud was going towards the town, I think Cincinnati or something. Very interesting theory, but in general, I don't see how liquefaction could be appropriate to fit in the mud flood, because what I see is liquefaction is making the flow from some point. It goes to the vector of some direction, even if it goes in circles. It also has a center from which it's trying to.
It's like flowing water. It always finds its course. It's like a living entity. I've seen it goes around corners. It finds its way. It's a very strange entity. Yeah.
So it's like going in some direction, and if you have a direction in the mud flow, the building can sink simultaneously and stay still and not
subside.
So
I think about that, whether it would subside level or
only simultaneous descending or whatever can help not to foundation to break, and it has to be very slow, like a centimeter an hour or something like this, maybe half an inch an hour. But if you do it faster, you have cracks in the foundation, you have cracks in the walls, and totally there is no chance that 19th century building could be still existing in such well conditions that we can observe.
People ask me, well, mud floods happens everywhere, well, including Easter Island, and I always say, especially Easter Island, because the Moe are up to their chest. So I often think and try to work this out. If it was like some sort of mishap, as in, a cymatic wave or something in some strange weapons times, would that have happened on Easter Island? And then it occurred to me, by what you just said, that Easter Island is in fact a volcanic island. So is there some catalyst that can make all volcanicity happen all at the same time, and earthquakes and tsunamis? Because in this document, it does state that the Ring of Fire goes up the whole thing at the same time, causing noxious gases in the atmosphere that we breathe, which is only within a container, so it's not that much, and millions of poison. It also states that as well from these volcanoes in this document. So it's just a mind blower that I've juggled with the idea, Philip, of comets triggering them off, you see, because I've got documented proof, a few books, that comets going over at these reset periods seem to trigger volcanicity or earthquakes as well, like in 1912 and then through to Tambora, 1812 to 1816. There was 2 comets at that time. So I'm not saying that they are, but I'm saying there's a good correlation that comets at the same time might trigger volcanic and mud volcano events, like the one there was one in Virginia, Philip, after Missouri, New Missouri. It's in my New Missouri book. There's a statement that a mud volcano come up in Virginia, of all places. A volcano in Virginia? Is he mad? No, it's in this document, and it's a mud volcano. And it's a large area. It's all in this book. It's crazy reads. But yeah, that event sort of really woke me up to this. And that was down to Mud Flood, who at the time was called Electronics Project, his channel Mud Flood. When he, showed me the events of 1911 and New Madrid. And I was like, that just astounded me that nobody, it's not in the history books, not taught in the schools. It's just, what? Plain wide. Phew, no. What a tumultuous time. That's what I wanted to ask you, Philip. Carrington event. Why? Do you think it was a reality?
Well, the problem with all those, facts that they, throw into our faces with some, extraordinary facts. I even, had some book which describes the year and what was happening in the year, like what kind of a disaster,
So why? It's not enough. Well, there's a guy called Harry Hubbard, and he's a YouTuber, years old. and he posted, he done the Lazarian map collection. He's an awesome guy. When he posted back about 2 years ago, when he dug, it turns up a 3,000-page essay in the New York Times 5 years after the supposed occasion. Then it goes off the radar for 50 years and then crops up again in the media in the 1930s. Does that sound right? That doesn't sound right to me. That sounds like predictively programmed nonsense to say that these things could happen. Okay, that's what I think has happened. There's no proof anywhere else. And local, this guy, Harry Hubbard, went into local newspapers of the areas, okay, that this event was supposed to happen. And there's no reports of, of any electricity or or telex services or whatever they had at the time going down, considering they all had atmospheric electricity anyway. That's bullshit, you see. You didn't need it.
What I try to stick to is just, some actual footage of second half of 19th century, which we can observe on the pictures, right? We have a bunch of those settlers pictures, and if you go through them, like settlers in different countries, United States,
arriving in Ellis Island in New York, I bloody literally posted a picture of that earlier. I'm not even joking.
And what is really so extraordinary at those pictures is a lack of forests. Totally, all those areas look muddy and all this, dirt everywhere. So it doesn't look very much, natural as it looks right now, because right now we have all those trees, grasses, So for me, it's very highly suspicious to see all those pictures look pretty much the same in different areas of the world. So,
isn't it?
And these settlers itself doesn't, make any sense. Like in the United States, we don't have this final frontier, last frontier until the second half of 19th century also, right? So it's like, I don't know, it doesn't, all those
doesn't ring true with me either, Philip. Doesn't ring true. No.
All those comments, as I've told you before, they look very suspicious to me, because people could be drawing no comments and they couldn't be witnesses of those comments. They could be drawing it from the words of different people, maybe.
Yeah. Interpretations.
Yeah, triple chain, or I don't know, how do you call it, a chain of interpretation.
Yeah, and it gets to the end and it's never the same.
Yeah, so it's like we call it a dumb phone in Russia. Like
you get to the end and it sounds nothing like the first one.
Yeah. So as I've told before about those Indian Vedas, where we can read about some intergalactical wars of gods and all those creatures from India with multi hands and eagles flying, throwing out of fire from all this stuff. This could be just symbolizing something that you haven't ever seen, but you were told to imagine something like this, and you like describing this to your grandchildren, and you have no idea what are you talking about. So that's why all these fairy tales and stuff you mix with these legends and all this. So you cannot describe what you haven't seen. That's what I've been talking about. So but what we see right now is cannot be explained with something like cultural layer, or I don't know, whatever, crab theory, horse crab theory. Oh, I like horse crab theory.
1,000 years of worm shit theory. It doesn't crack it. Something else completely different going on. I felt it all along. There's no older buildings in my city. They only go mid-Victorian. They're supposed to be. Can't find any pictures of any one of them being built. Any of them. It's really, really strange. I walked past one the other day and I thought, oh, beautiful mud floods. Oh, it's only 1898 on there. I should be able to nail that being built. I go home, I Google it. There's no existence of it being built on the internet or anywhere. So it's just like same for every city that I try to do. I try and stay away from anything pre-1900 buildings if I can help. But it seems that some of them have had altered dates and are further back, because I can't find a record on a lot of the later ones either. civic buildings, I mean, like Missouri, City Hall, places like that. Can't find any buildings of any of them. They're there on banknotes, they're there on coins, already built in situ. They never had stone, Philip.
What we found out is that all those cities that's supposed to have those Starforts before, and most of them are destroyed actually, and they have stadiums on the places where the Starfort was. So
what do you make of that?
I don't know why, but they make stadiums exactly in the places where the Starforts.
Well, maybe they could either, because I've juggled with the idea of were Colosseums actual Searle devices, as in Searle free energy devices. The seating and all of that looks exactly like a Searle. If you look on Google and see Searle machines, they're identical to a stadium. Even inside, they have like a seating thing. So whether or not they are, not like, the survivors keep coming in, I feel, and they just find these things and try and reverse engineer them. So they come in, found the Colosseum, thought it'd be handy for an event. Well, the next arrivals have gladiatorial Circus Maximus, etc. bullshit. But were they always that way? Were they always that way? Right back. These aqueducts, they just ripped from Tuscany all the way down. Are they just for bringing water above ground level, mind, 100 miles, and delivering it nice and pristine and fresh from aquifers hundreds of miles away into Rome to feed their fountains and their people? Something else going on. I think it's connected with orgone energy as well. I think they had a different setup in their society. I think it was amazingly healthy. And I think that they didn't get ill, and only they aged in the same way. I think days were shorter. I think that's why they were bigger. I think that's why they lived so much longer. The days are stretching out. I think we had a different time span long ago, not long ago.
Also, a hint to you: if you look around the net and search for some interesting facts, I think it would be a good, and maybe all you guys that are watching right now, check it in your areas. Do you have any original paintings of the persons in the winter clothes before the 19th century?
Please, that would be a big help if that could come
because
through.
we couldn't find any of those in Russia. We went to museum, and the guy even filmed that no museum contains any of those pictures before the 19th century, and all those statues are also all dressed like a Greco-Roman style, with all these light clothes, with nothing like a winter. And in Russia is very cold, so you cannot survive with these clothes in Russia. So it's just like an engagement call for all you guys. Check in your museums. If you see those pictures, would be great to see them. Who was painting them, in what year, and how does it called, right?
No, I don't think it was. Maybe these events, I was thinking about, the event in this document. It states that the Northern Ocean or the Arctic Ocean is frozen up in this instant freezing. And I'm wondering whether this instant freezing caused some sort of, maybe because of what you just said, atmospherically, some sort of ice barrier in the north blocking off, who knows, lands. We don't know what's up there. It's an ocean and it's always underportrayed. A Gleason's map will show this tiny little thing. It's an ocean, the smallest ocean on Earth. It's massive, but it's never portrayed as massive. It's massive. So what is there exactly? So I think there's more here with us. Definitely think there's more in here with us. I think that these controllers, I think they do watch all. I think that's the all-seeing eye. I don't think they miss a trick. I think they watch all. Whether or not they are here, just out of our frame of reference, millimeters away watching us, but we can't see them. I feel that sometimes. It's what the depictions show in alchemical days, is these hands coming out of the clouds, giving technology. I don't know, Philip. These people are not us. I don't even feel like we're ancestors of these people, that I'm looking at in the documents. There's all these strange cryptids, DNA pools mess with. The intelligence is off the radar, even in just bog standard common folk. It's just weird. Just weird times. Don't feel like that us.
Have you heard about the Empire of Rosh, so-called Empire of Rosh?
No. Please,
So
please.
the empire that was before all those empires. So it's like after the split of the Rosh, Tartaria appeared, British Empire, Holy Roman Empire, and all those empires appeared. Japan, China. It's after the split of the Rosh Empire, and in Rosh Empire, they supposed to be creating the people as a bio robots. So that's why they were living longer, and they could be changing their organs to just extend their lives. So as what I've been guessing, that those controls could be the biorobots from the previous civilizations, that's why they live so long and they don't die.
Yeah.
Just simply because they change the organs from time to time, and they just extend their lives. And biorobots is having.
How would you know? How would you know if we what do? We are self-healing, replicating. We need fuel. We need water. Like a cow. We're more or less machines, aren't we? Bio machines. So, not saying that we are like robots. We don't know who the driver is, do we? That's what St. Francis said. He seeks the one who sees, and that is quite true. We all seek that person who is consciousness, who is seeing out through the eyes. So yeah, really thinking about that one.
Yeah, because we have to. They pull the facts towards the biblical events, and of course they place the Empire of Rosh in the era of Gog and Magog, something like this. So
Yeah,
it's
isn't
like
it funny? Do you know George Bush, the one that just died? He was in Skull and Crossbones. Do you know what his given Skull and Crossbones name was? Magog. And his son's name in the Skull and Crossbones in Yale was given Gog. So Gog and Magog are two bushes as well. Code names. Really strange. I don't know whether they named them just, not connected.
yeah, the higher the degree, the more information you get. So
Exactly.
of course, but they still play them, I think, because they don't show them all the evidence. They just control them and make them use them as a puppets, because we see them die. They're dying, and actually they don't live so long. So those people who we call controllers, of course, we don't see them, and they didn't show up.
They're highly suspicious of the royal family, Philip. I think people really do think about it because, I said to my wife years ago, I said, if that Queen Mother carries on going, people are going to be asking questions. I was thinking she was a lizard back then. The cat just meowed. And she died like 106, and she was like really walking around. Look at Philip now; he's 100 coming up, so I think he's 99 this year. He still rides horses. He still goes to the badminton horse trials. The guy is super fit. He goes into this hospital once a year where apparently he has a water infection. Comes up brand new. Queen does the same. The Masonic nurse with the Masonic badge, you'll see her off. See you next time for a new whatever they give them. Babies, placentas, whatever. I don't even know. Very suspicious. Are they so healthy, but nobody else is like that? I know they got many, Philip, but no.
I know. I know you didn't celebrate the Christmas. You want to know why I don't like to celebrate it?
Yes, please.
Because what it symbolizes is the cut tree, right? So we dancing and around the cut tree. And what is the cut tree actually symbolizes? It's our cut connection from the nature, from the forest, which was given the man energy before. So we were living in the forest network. So that explains a lot. And
well, Britain was full of forests. They chopped it all down. We had wolves running wild here only a few hundred years ago, and all the forests are gone. They state that they got, they went in the 16s and 1700s. They chopped all the forests down for farming. I don't buy it. It's just really, Europe's the same. Large tracts of Europe deforested up as far as Poland. It's just, The whole of Europe was a forest.
Yeah, we
Huge.
had a bunch of forests everywhere, and now we don't have them. As you can see, in 19th century, we had no forest at all.
No.
You know,
We got no
because
Asian proper Asian. I got a semi-Asian forest, Philip, about a mile away. I go there all the time. But the oldest trees there, maybe 350 years old, tops 300, if that, if that. Got some huge trees there, but they are semi-Asians. As in, I think that's as far as they would go, isn't it? How old are trees, Philip? 200 years max, 300?
yeah, Max. And you know, a bunch of those rings on the cut trees show us
Yeah,
that the climate was changed a couple of times during the
yeah,
last
yeah. You can see
200 years.
Krakatoa on tree rings. So it's dendrochronology. You can see
Oh,
Krakatoa.
yeah,
Uh,
like in 60s, it changed to be more colder, more tougher. In
well,
60s
I've
or
seen it in
20th
my
century.
lifetime, Philip. You know, it was like it was mild today, right? And outside in the garden, there is daffodils coming up. So it's spring. It's not even next year yet. This is not right. Okay. And I've noticed the change in my lifetime. Everything.
Come to Russia, we have snow.
Is it cold? Have you got snow there now?
Yeah, we have plenty
Yeah.
of snow. This year is just perfect for snow.
Is there?
Well, so all this symbolism is still working. So like kids are playing, and we're like, you know, celebrating under the Christmas tree, and they pull in the facts of the birth of the Christ towards this cutting down the tree. I don't know what is this supposed to mean with the Bible and how it is connected, but I'm sure they can explain it like they used to do in every other facts, like the scrap, close scrap theory or cultural layer. They have explanation for everything.
You do.
So the ship will just shut up and, you know, go back to work.
Excuse me. Well, welcome all in chat. Let me just have a look who's
Yeah.
here. We got almost
Let's see if we have some
700
questions,
people in
right?
chat. Welcome all. Have a great holiday, all of you. I hope you all have.
Yeah.
Later on, I just want to chuck this in. Later on, I will be posting this, a very unusual mud flood manual. But there is other stuff in the video. I'll post that later. I did make it earlier. Hiya, Nora, Newsflower, Tommy Rogers, Steve Watson, Shanna, Kirk, Brandon, and then Kat just said hiya. Hiya, Kat.
Yeah.
Do you like
I,
my Welsh
I
accent?
have three cats, so
Have you? Should you steal that street cat? Someone dance at Christmas Day for me. Rory. Mr. Y, nice stuff, brother. Thank you so much for your messages, etc. He's an Estonian, like myself. My father was. Brandon, Dr. Michael. So somebody said, "Oh, Richard, hiya, brother. What's happening?" Somebody said to me about a video about Hardwick Stone today. Said, "Could you do me a favor? Could you remake the video, but only leave Flat Earth out of the title? My friend will watch it."
Yeah. You know, Richard wanted to. I think Richard wanted to invite you to our Connecting the Dots chat, maybe in a week or so. So stick to his messages. I think.
Sure. I watched a bit of him earlier on. He was live last night with Dimabo. So Dimabo is definitely interested in method, etc. What's my friend Nathan Oakley just saying there? Yes, I can, Nathan Oakley. Flat Earth debate. My friend Nathan Oakley, okay, if you don't know already, has probably the longest in history, only in history, Flat Earth debate channel.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, where you can hear basically both sides of the argument, which it is an argument, debating.
Oh, I know the guy with the round glasses, right? And
No,
the
no,
hat.
no, 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 no. Nathan
It's
doesn't
not.
wear glasses. No, no. I've known him years now. Just we started out around the same time. We've been through it all, the same thing together. But it is a changing thing. I got bored with Flat Earth early on. I could see that it was just what are we going to do? Just pull every mistake that they keep giving us, which they kept giving us, and then once it was blatantly obvious, you know what they were doing, and I learned how all the technology worked. I thought, well, all right, then what's next? Because if they lie about that, they're going to lie about all. And I knew history. I knew the timeline was my biggest thing, Philip. You know, the added time. or taken away time added, and the rest fell into place. Just best thing, very exciting times. So many subjects included in this, though, isn't there? You know, I noticed yesterday posted with giants. Quite like that. That was interesting. I got some more on that. Giants.
Yeah. Well, I think we should talk on Tartaria, and I think you
Yeah.
have different opinion on Tartarian technologies. I think
Not necessarily got a different opinion. I just
no, I wanted to just for you to share your opinion of what you think were Tartarians. Were they
okay.
close to Western civilization, or were they just some other race or whatever?
Oh, I
So
can only go on what I've uncovered, Philip, and the evidence that I've uncovered. The sources, can they be trusted? Probably not. But so first question, were Tartaria elitist? Were they elitist mentality? And did they have a power structure? Well, it would appear that they did have some sort of emperor, because I got a lead atlas, which is
Han.
yeah,
It was
exactly. So they had a structure, they had a hierarchy. So what were they totalitarian? Were they a dictatorship? Or were they what the dream would want, everybody would want them to be, this beautiful, superior, intelligent society which sussed it all out and lived in harmony with one another? Okay, which is the beautiful dream, and I pray that is true. Now, I've heard bad press from one book where he says that these people are off the radar. They are working for Muscovy in the late 1600s as sort of mercs, etc. But these are just specific branch of Tartaria, and there are many, many branches of it. As you know, there's about, I don't know, I can't even count the amount of tribes isn't the right word, but types of Tartaria. So I can't go with that because the guy was East India Company, so it would be programming. Okay. Now, what would be sweet if some evidence of Tartaria could turn up in America, without just saying that building looks exactly the same, we'll attribute it to Tartaria, because that's the same as saying what they do and saying, well, that building looks Roman, we'll attribute it to Rome. Is that the case? Could there be someone else that's building some of this stuff? Could there have been another culture around the same time that's been completely covered up? No, I want to make sure. I want to make sure that they are good.
yeah, of course. I think there were two powers at the time of Tartarian. Probably major power was the Holy Roman Empire, which it could be symbolized as a double-headed ego.
I noticed the Jesuits work closely with Tartaria. You see, they hand in hand with a lot of their business, and we know what the Jesuits are. So there's that, and that's in the 1700s.
So it's like the end of 18th century and beginning of the 19th century, whereas they started to fight each other. Like I think the Tartaria could be bombed, like what we talking before, just in the beginning of this chat, and then the army of Holy Roman Empire with this, with their puppet countries like France,
Britain.
Russia, because Russia was not the part of Tartaria at that time, as the research shows. Russia was just a small country in the western part of
from St. Petersburg down to say Odessa, just this one.
And they could be using the same language. Of course, they could be relative countries like Russia and Ukraine right now. So probably they were speaking both languages, Arabic and Russian, because we see evidence of the Arabic alphabet everywhere in the Tartaria cities. So what I'm trying to say is that two powers colluded, and that made the story to repeat, as we know about the Rome and Carthage, right? We have this also Greece versus Troy or Persia. So also sometimes we have this Alexander Macedonian the Great versus the Persia, right? So each and every time we have this collusion of two superpowers that fight and they split the world. So I think they play this game each and every time after all the resets. So after the fall of the Rosh Empire, they created two more, like in the east and in the west. Like in the east, they created Korean Japan Empire versus Chinese Empire, and in the west they created Holy Roman Empire versus Tartarian Muscovite Empire. I think.
What religion would they have been then, Philip? Would they have been Catholic or Orthodox? I mean, Italian.
That could explain also the religious split up that we have, because it's the same religion, but we have, totally.
I see Muslims and Christians together in the old world. I don't see them as enemies at all.
That's what we see on Tartaria diaries. The people that travel, they picture a bunch of people dressed in the European style clothes and looking totally European.
Yeah, sure.
And, we don't see many other. We see like different branches. Of course, we see Chinese Tartaria.
I got people today from posting a real old one.
But people don't look very Asian. I don't see, and the emperors and the Khans look big and
tall. The Chinese are not big, Philip. These people are a lot bigger. The Chinese emperor in the one book that I've got is a large chap, borderline giant. I mean, he's a real big chap. But there are in this book also a lot of giants in China, Tartaria, only as recent as 1733. Are they figments of the artist's imagination? I don't think so.
And this could explain so fast expanding of the territory of so-called Russia in the 18th and 19th century, that it was capturing the old Tartarian lands because nobody was protecting them.
Yeah, sure. It was a big emphasis on it. Like, like if there was in a rush to do it, across.
Yeah. So this is also explaining why Americans didn't move west. And also this so-called leasing of Alaska from Russia to America. Why was that done by Russian emperor? For nothing, and they even didn't get the gold for that. So they lost it in a way. like all this Pentagon hearings that we have right now. Then when they lost a couple of trillions, like, we don't know where to account those trillions. So the Russian emperors that sold the Alaska to America didn't account any kind of profit from that. So we don't know actually what was the cause of this holding of expanding of both countries, Russia and American. But we can see right now that they also trying to make this game again. Like we have two countries that are trying to fight for whatever reasons which are not understandable.
No, it's just a Hegelian dialectic. It's bullshit.
Yeah, most of the population doesn't support it in both countries and the world. Also watching this stupidity, this actorship, I don't know, this play, or who is this screencast writer for this game?
I don't know. This stage show is a rubbish one, actually. It's falling apart. New actors in their stage show, man. Who need new characters? This one's rubbish. It's a refund.
Yeah. Well, anyways, it was a pleasure to meet, and
Philip, we need to hook up soon. I've had a little message. I'm not sure later if I might be on D-Marbles. I just
you must go if they invite you. Must go.
I'm gonna premiere that weird video later.
Okay.
Yeah, I made it earlier. I thought, well, see how it goes, because like I tell you what,
I think we should use any opportunity to reach the audience of the bigger channels, because we were in the dark, in the shadow for a couple of years. I think right now we're in the hype. We have full rights to do what we want to do and to inform the people. Although we call the controversially called the conspiracy group, which is influencing the Western history. Ooh.
It's been covered up with the history. It's all fake, but I don't think it's a conspiracy. I just think it's a part of the parcel of how this place works. I think it's just automatic and is every time. There's us and there's them. That's the way it is. So I want to thank everybody before we go, Philip. There's about 600 and nearly 700 people in chat. I want to thank every one of you. Okay, I will be putting up a premiere very shortly. So if you're bored, Get over and have a look at that later and have your mind ripped apart. It's absolutely ballistic. I'm not even joking. There's lots in it. Nathan Oakley, thank you, my brother. That's my friend. Shout out to Philip as well, my friend.
Yeah, thanks.
Ratty as well. Sub to Arwin. He's gained 24 subscribers. Oh, nice one, Arwin. Conan, thank you, brother. Rubik's, Zoe, thank you, love. And Mick, who's rebel with that, of course. Who's Truth? No. I better not slip up and say New Earth. Robbie, what's happening, mate? Who's lifting the lid. Oh, man, there's so many of you. So many of you. And Dora, thank you, sweetness. See you soon. And everybody else. There's loads to look forward to. Karen B. And of Dina, who I love. I love them all.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. Thanks a lot for joining.
Happy hauls.
Very nice show, and think you liked it. And put thumbs up and share this video so we can get more attention.
Exactly.
All the mudflyers, watch your back, guys, because you know they're hunting for us. I started doing this, so
yeah. There's a campaign I've had maybe since I've had all this heat on. Is I've maybe had 5 videos just aimed at me, just fucking having a go, trying to poison the flat Earth British well, which is never going to happen. So good luck to that with them.
Yeah,
I'm not here. I'm here. Philip, peace and love to you, brother.
Yeah, thanks a lot for inviting.
No worries, pleasure. We'll hook up soon. We'll talk again. Have another hangout. Be no problem.
Yeah, contact with Richard and new chat maybe next week or something.
I will. That'll be awesome. I'm connecting the dots. Okay.
See you later, guys.
All right. Peace and love to you all. I will see you all now in chat. And make sure to get over to my other. You'll see it going up now in a minute.
Okay.